So over the last few years, there has been a huge amount of investment going into renewable energy. The costs have come down dramatically, and this has made it very attractive for companies and governments to invest into renewable energy projects. In fact, according to one report, in 2021 alone, almost $700 billion was invested in clean energy around the world, which is more than double the amount invested in 2020. This trend is expected to continue, with Bloomberg predicting that by 2030, we could see nearly $4 trillion invested in renewable energy. However, while renewables like solar and wind are becoming more and more common, they still only account for a small portion of global power generation. And one of the major reasons why is because renewables are intermittent, meaning that they aren't always available when you need them. Solar panels do UNT work at night or when it isks cloudy, and wind turbines do UNC spin when there isks no wind. So for many years, this intermittency issue has limited the use of renewable energy and has led companies and governments to rely on fossil fuels instead. But what if AI could help solve this problem? Well, turns out it can. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how AI is helping to create smarter grids that are able to make better use of renewable energy. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. Also, we recently started posting some of our video scripts online, so feel free to check them out if you're interested. So let's start off with where things currently stand. So even though renewable energy is becoming cheaper every year, its usage is still pretty low. According to the International Energy Agency, renewables accounted for just 11% of global electricity generation in 2021, and even though this is up from just 3% in 2000, it's still far below the 50% plus that many experts believe is necessary if we want to slow down climate change. One of the main reasons why renewables haven't taken off yet is because of their intermittency. As I mentioned earlier, solar and wind are intermittent, meaning that they aren't always available when you need them. For example, in 2019, one study found that the average solar power plant in Texas only produces 21% of the power it's capable of producing due to a lack of sunlight. And this percentage drops even further when you take into account periods of peak demand when the sun is unshining. The same thing happens with wind. While wind turbines can generate power around the clock, the amount of power they produce varies depending on the speed and consistency of the wind. And during periods of low wind speeds, turbines often produce little to no power, and this intermittency issue creates a bunch of problems. First of all, it means that we need to build a lot more power plants than we would need otherwise, since they can only run at their optimal level part of the time. It also means that we need to find ways to store the excess energy that they produce, so that we can use it when it is not available. And finally, it means that we need to find ways to make up for the shortfall when renewables QAUNT generate enough power. And right now, fossil fuels are the only option that's reliable enough to meet these requirements. So until we can find a way to solve this intermittency problem, we won't be able to move away from fossil fuels. Now, there are several approaches being taken to address this problem. On the supply side, we could try to improve renewable energy technologies to make them more efficient or to diversify the sources of renewable energy. But in today's video, we're going to focus on the demand side. Specifically, how AI is helping us to optimize the grids that distribute electricity to our homes and businesses. One of the most important functions of an electrical grid is to balance supply and demand. Ideally, the grid is able to produce just enough power to meet the demands of its consumers without any excess or shortages. However, in reality, this is extremely difficult to do, especially with the increasing amount of renewable energy on the grid. This is where AI comes in. AI algorithms are able to analyze data from the grid and make predictions about future demand and supply, which allows the grid operators to take steps to balance the two. For example, AI can be used to predict when there will be a high demand for electricity. By analyzing historical data and real-time conditions such as temperature and time of day, AI can forecast when demand will be high, such as during a heat wave or in the evening when people come home from work and turn on their air conditioners. Once AI predicts a high demand period, the grid operators can take action to ensure that there is enough power available. They might do things like starting up additional generators, drawing power from storage systems, or reducing demand by turning off non-essential equipment. In addition to forecasting demand, AI can also be used to optimize the performance of renewable energy systems. As I mentioned earlier, solar and wind are intermittent energy sources and their output is highly variable. This makes it difficult for grid operators to rely on them since they can't control the weather. However, AI algorithms can be trained to analyze data from weather forecasts and other sources to predict when solar and wind power will be available. With this information, grid operators can make decisions about how much renewable energy to rely on, and they can take steps to mitigate the risks associated with their intermittency. For example, they might use AI-powered systems to automatically adjust the amount of power being drawn from solar panels or wind turbines based on real-time weather conditions. Another way that AI is helping to optimize the grid is by automating tasks that were previously done manually. Traditionally, grid operators have had to manually monitor the flow of electricity through the grid and make adjustments as needed. This can be a time-consuming and error-prone process. But AI algorithms can automate many of these tasks, freeing up grid operators to focus on more complex issues. For example, AI can be used to automate the process of detecting and repairing faults on the grid. By continuously monitoring the flow of electricity, AI algorithms can quickly identify any abnormalities and automatically dispatch repair crews to the affected area. This helps to minimize the impact of outages and ensures that power is restored as quickly as possible. AI is also helping to create more resilient grids that are less vulnerable to extreme weather events and other disruptions. By analyzing data from historical weather events and other sources, AI algorithms can identify the most likely causes of grid failures and then develop strategies to mitigate those risks. For example, AI can be used to develop more accurate models of the weather, which can help grid operators better predict the impact of extreme weather events on the grid. In addition to making the grid more resilient, AI is also helping to reduce its environmental impact. AI algorithms can be used to optimize the performance of renewable energy systems, which reduces the need for fossil fuels and results in lower emissions. Additionally, AI-powered systems can be used to reduce the amount of energy wasted on the grid. For example, AI can be used to detect and prevent voltage collapse, which occurs when the voltage level on the grid drops too low. By preventing voltage collapse, AI algorithms can reduce the amount of energy that's wasted and improve the overall efficiency of the grid. There are already a number of companies that are using AI to optimize the grid. One example is a company called Sentient, which develops AI-powered software that helps grid operators manage the flow of electricity in real time. Another company, NLX, uses AI to optimize the performance of renewable energy systems, which improves their reliability and reduces the need for fossil fuels. As you can see, AI has the potential to revolutionize the way we use renewable energy. By using AI to optimize the grid, we can make better use of renewable energy sources and reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. This will not only help us to slow down climate change, but it will also help us to create a more sustainable and resilient energy system for the future. That's why I am so excited about the future of AI, and I hope that you are too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.